So right now I'm having an issue, and it just happened. So up there, the little Wi-Fi signal is constantly appearing, then disappearing. See, there it goes again. So right now my iPad is running iOS 16.2, I believe. So there have been a few updates. And when I got this iPad from my former roommate, she was having some issues with it too. And I told her to just go ahead and restart or reset network settings. And I don't know if she ever did it, but when I got the device, set it up, I was initially having these same issues. And then I did the whole reset network settings and it seemed to have resolved itself. I have since, and when I say since, I mean just recently, connected to a new network. And right now it's not flashing, but believe me, it flashes quite a bit. So what I'm thinking is that even though I just recently reset the network settings, I'm still having the issues. I need to update the operating system. So if Wi-Fi is not working, I guess I could connect it to iTunes, which I don't really want to do. So what I'm going to do, and I've used this before, is I'm going to use this little guy, okay? And this is a USB-C to Ethernet dongle, and I'm going to connect it to my modem using an Ethernet cable and hope that it solves the problem. Now, I'm hoping that it flashes a few more times, but it, seems to be pretty steady. But believe me, the only reason I'm making this video is because I started the download process of the update, and it kept saying, oh, you need to connect to Wi-Fi, because it kept disconnecting, then reconnecting, disconnecting, then reconnecting. It's pretty steady right now, but I know the moment I go back into settings, it's going to start doing the same thing. So the reason that I'm making this video after I've made those other couple videos is the last thing I need is to have to purchase an MFI USB-C to Ethernet dongle, because with the direction that the iPhone seems to be heading, in order to get things to work properly, that's what you'd have to do. And as I've mentioned in the other videos, just because it's not made by Apple doesn't mean that it's not a good product. So Anker is a reputable third-party company. They have some other products that I guess would be first-party, depending on what it is. But when it comes to cables and other things like that, this I've used quite a bit, and it works perfectly fine. And I have good confidence that it's going to work perfectly fine with this iPad. But in a year, if some type of MFI program is implemented for the iPad in addition to the iPhone, which will then have USB-C, I don't know if this cable or this dongle would continue working. So I am saying that I am happy that I have this. I am happy that the USB-C port on this iPad currently works with other USB-C products that aren't MFI certified. And I am disappointed that I can imagine that this dongle either A, just wouldn't work with the iPhone once they USB-C at all, or B, would work but at a degraded in a degraded capacity. So all that to say, I'm happy that things are the way they are, and I'm disappointed with the way that things appear to be heading when it comes to USB-C in the Apple ecosystem. So I'm going to update what I need to update, hope that solves the problem, and yeah, that'll be that. And I apologize for the video quality. I'm not using my camera. I'm actually recording this on my Pixel. So I know there are probably going to be people who are going to say, well, when would you ever need to do this? Or why would you ever want to plug an iPad in using Ethernet? Blah, 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 blah. I mean, the whole point of this video is showing you that Wi-Fi isn't always reliable. Sometimes it's not available. Sometimes you just might not want to use it. So the whole point, as I mentioned before, the whole point of me making this video is just to show that USB-C and USB in general should be relatively universal. So right now I have my dongle plugged into my Ethernet cable, and my Ethernet cable is going to the modem. And as you can see, the iPad is in airplane mode. And yeah, I'm going to start the download. So download and install. And as you can see again, it's in airplane mode. Wi-Fi is off, Bluetooth is off. And we're going to start the download. And you can see that it's thinking up there, doing its little thing. There we go. So I'm happy that there's a modem or whatever's required built into the hardware in the event that like this Wi-Fi doesn't work that it's supposed to, the way that it's supposed to. So yeah, and I'll keep saying it, the last thing I need is for my little dongle to need to be MFI certified. So I'm going to download and install this and hope that my problem is resolved. I doubt that I'll make a follow-up video because I really don't, care that much, nor that is that the reason that I'm making this. It's just to talk about what the point of this. The point of this port is so that everything works, okay? That's the whole point of the port, that it works with other high-quality products. And there's no reason for Apple to think that they do it better than other companies. So vote with your wallet. And again, I do apologize for the video quality. As I mentioned before, I'm not using my Sony actual camera. I'm just using the Pixel because the Sony's charging using a USB-C cable that is not made by Sony, that is not made by Apple. But the whole point of this video, again, as I said, USB-C or USB is supposed to be universal. You don't need individual companies saying that, well, we do it better, and for our products, the cables need to be made this specific way, when there are other companies that do it just as fine, if not better. It always leads me back to something that, of all people, Elon Musk tweeted, and hopefully I'll be able to, well, I need to include it because otherwise what's the point of me talking about it? But essentially, and I'll put it on the screen right now, he's talking about like an acid test or something. I mean, I'm not remembering it now, but it'll be on the screen. And he's mentioning or talking about, well, when companies essentially create like a walled garden type effect, they put up barriers to try to keep people in. So iMessage is definitely one of those things that locks people in. This cable, or the cables that will be manufactured, if not already manufactured, but will soon be purchased, available for purchase, are a method of tricking the mind. Because what's going to happen are people going to think, oh, yes, this cable looks the same as this other cable, but it must be better because it works with my Apple products. Even though the other cables are capable, or should be capable, of working with my Apple products, they don't, because Apple doesn't want them to. So now they're thinking, okay, everything that I need to buy needs to be Apple certified. And I'll just call it that. So that way it's simple to understand. But that leads to, all right, well, even though maybe I'm not even using an Apple product, but because my Apple cables work with my Apple products and my Samsung cables don't work with my Apple products, even though, what are the chances of people owning both of those, whatever, then I must need to buy more Apple cables even to work with my non-Apple products, because the Apple cable must be better. So yeah, it's just another ploy of this $1 trillion, maybe even $3 trillion company squeezing you into thinking that their stuff is superior to, I don't even want to call it competition, because they're just, at the end of the day, they're cables, that they are just cables. So you can call it competition if you want, but I mean, like, as I mentioned before, like, how many USB-C cables I have. They're one made by Dell, one made by Lenovo. And in fact, I have multiple made by both of those companies. One made by Apple. Alki, I think is the name of this company. Yeah, I don't know if you can read it. Will it focus? Yeah, it's right there, but it says like Alki. Then I have this little guy, which should be a monoprice cable, which there's no branding on it, which would definitely be a way for them to keep the price of the cables down if there's no actual branding on it. And I probably have some other ones that I'm just not thinking about right now. But yeah, the whole point of it is just to be universal. And I'm using all of those different brands with, of course, the products that either came with them or just, other products, but they all work just fine, even my Apple products. So again, for them to say, yes, our products have to be charged only with our cables, meaning that our cables are special and better than the competition's cable, is just baffling. So I will continue my little protest over here, which at this point it's not a protest. One, because I think Android is just a better operating system than iOS, regardless of how we're charging the phones. But two, yeah, it's just, well, I won't be buying an iPhone anytime soon. Like, unless they drastically revamp iOS, which I don't see happening anytime soon. I mean, just let me just leave you on this, though. Let me leave you on this, because I know I've complained about it before. Most people who will watch this video, and most people who have iPhones, use Windows. Okay, so that is the desktop operating system. Most people in the world use Windows. And something as simple as being able to have stuff on your desktop, little icons, shortcuts, if you want to call them that, and move them wherever you want them to be on your desktop. Because it's like, oh, well, maybe I want them stacked over here, or maybe I want them in the vertical, stacked over here, or maybe I want them in like a little quadrant right here, or maybe I don't want any. Like however you want to stack your shortcuts, you can put them wherever you want on your desktop. Like it's so casually done. You don't even think about, oh yeah, it's cool. Here's a big canvas. I can make this canvas mine, which is your desktop. You come to Android, you can do the same thing. So now we're talking a mobile operating system. Chrome OS, I believe you can do the same thing. Linux, you can do the same thing. Mac OS, you can do the same thing. But when it comes to the iPhone, you can't move the icons around. Why? Like, why is that so restrictive? Why does Apple think that you have to start in the top left corner and work your way there? Now, with the widgets and stuff, I haven't really dug into it since I didn't want to do widgets on the screen, but you can't just float stuff around the way that you want it. Like, you might be able to have a widget floating somewhere. I honestly don't know. But if that is a new thing, or if that is a thing that is new, which I don't think it is, now, unfortunately, I don't have, I mean, I guess I could play with that iPad, but yeah, and I feel like by me being unsure of what I'm saying, I'm losing the point or the strength of my argument. But in fact, yeah, the iPad's over there charging or updating, so I can't even do it. But to my knowledge, that iPad, which I don't use a lot, and the iPhone, which I no longer have, you got to start in the top left corner and build down. And of course, you have something like a widget that spans the entire width, cool, or even portion of it, whatever. But you can't, something as simple as that. Why does Apple feel like they need to control how you do that? So yeah, forget USB-C, forget iMessage, forget not adopting RCS, forget the Bluetooth issues that I have and the alarm clock issues that I have, forget Lightning, you know, like so many other things. Something as simple as, hey, I just want one shortcut just in the middle of my screen. Want that. Can't do it. You just can't do it. So yeah, I will not be buying an iPhone anytime soon. And as I mentioned, I'm talking to you right here on a Pixel 7. I went ahead and actually bought two of these because the trade-in deals last summer were amazing. Got one for myself, got one for my mom. She's using it, and I'd originally given her two iPhones previously. She had the XR, I believe, as well as the iPhone 6. So, and she liked it, but I said, well, I'm getting off of Apple's teat, so you got to get off Apple's teat, considering I'm the one that's buying your phone. It's not that it's like because she doesn't care. I mean, she would have kept using it perfectly fine, but I'm like, well, I want you to have something newer, and this is what I'm buying you. And she said, okay. And my dad, he's an Android user, and my brother, he still uses an iPhone. But yeah, like something as simple as that. Hey, I want my icon over here. Why does it have to start right here? Doesn't make any sense. So all the other restrictions that they've imposed are not surprising at all. But yeah, it's just one of those things where the company has so much control. And as I was mentioning in one of the other videos, yeah, it's how do we please our stockholders? And it's by squeezing the customer for every single penny. And this cable fiasco is just the latest way for them to squeeze you. So screw them, you know, like don't buy the crap. But most people don't care enough to say, well, I'll give Android a try and whatever. And of course, yeah, I'll deal with, you know, with the green bubbles, blah, 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 blah. But I'll say this though, like Apple could adopt RCS and they're choosing to not do it. They could open iMessage. I mean, I think if there was a subscription for iMessage, I'd probably pay it. Yeah, just to have that convenience, you know, I'd probably pay it. But for them, they know it's more profitable to sell people iPhones instead of giving them a subscription just for a single app, which makes sense. But again, that's to please their stockholders as opposed to pleasing the customers that are buying the crap for them, that are allowing the stockholders to actually get the money. So if you can tell, I'm a little enraged, you know, I really am. So screw them. I'm going to keep using my iPad, which I keep pointing back here because it was in one of my last videos, but it's over there. I'm going to keep using this Mac because I really like it. Heck, I might even get an M2 MacBook Air at some point. But the iPhone ain't happening, Chief. Ain't happening.